What happens when a dream refuses to die, even after the lights go out? What happens when a young boy from a small island carries a voice bigger than his fears? On that night, the stage lights of America's Biggest Talent show waited once again. But this time, they were not waiting for a stranger. They were waiting for a return. Miguel Reyes, the boy many now called Filipino Elvis, stood behind the curtain. His hands were calm, but his heart was not. He had been here before. He had felt the cheers. He had tasted hope. But he had also walked away knowing that applause is not the same as victory. Back home in the Philippines, life did not change overnight. The streets were still narrow. The air was still heavy with heat and struggle. His mother, Elena, continued to work long hours at a small laundry shop. Strong, quiet, and endlessly patient, she carried her son's dream like it was her own heartbeat. And then there was Simon Cowell. The man known for sharp eyes and sharper judgments. A judge who rarely showed emotion. The first time Miguel performed, Simon had watched carefully. Interested, but not convinced. Now Miguel was back. Older. Stronger. Carrying something deeper in his voice. But the question remained. Was talent enough? Or did he need pain, sacrifice, belief? As the countdown began, Miguel closed his eyes. He was no longer in a giant theater. He was back in his small home, singing beside a cracked window while rain tapped against the roof. He remembered the nights when electricity failed. The mornings when doubt felt heavier than hunger. This return was not about fame. It was about proving that dreams born in small places can echo across the world. And somewhere in that audience sat a man with his hand hovering near a golden button. Would this be the night Simon could not hold back? Or would Miguel once again walk away with only hope? The curtain began to rise. And America leaned forward. Miguel Reyes was only 16, but his eyes carried stories that felt much older. He was not tall. Not loud. Not the kind of boy who demanded attention when he entered a room. But when he sang, everything changed. At home in Cebu, his days were simple. He woke up before sunrise, helped his mother prepare breakfast, and swept the small concrete floor outside their house. Their home had thin walls and a roof that rattled during storms. Still, Miguel treated it like a palace. He kept his few clothes neatly folded. He cleaned his worn-out white sneakers every Sunday, even though the color never fully returned. Music was his escape. He practiced in front of a cracked mirror, holding a cheap plastic microphone he had saved up for months to buy. He studied old Elvis videos on a borrowed phone, memorizing every movement, every breath. But he never tried to copy fully. He wanted to honor the legend, without losing himself. Miguel was gentle by nature. He spoke softly. He listened more than he talked. In school, he was the quiet boy in the back row. The one who avoided fights. The one who smiled even when teased for dreaming too big. Sometimes, late at night, doubt would sit beside him. It would whisper that boys from small neighborhoods do not reach global stages. On those nights, he would step outside. He would look at the sky. The same sky above America. The same sky above every dreamer. And he would sing softly, just enough to remind himself that his voice still belonged to him. Now, standing backstage again, Miguel felt the weight of expectation. This was not just another performance. It was proof. Proof to his mother. Proof to himself that he was nervous, yes. But beneath the nerves lived something stronger. A quiet fire. And this time, he was not just singing to be seen. He was singing to be remembered. Success can be louder than failure. And after his first appearance on the show, Miguel learned that quickly. When he returned home the first time, people recognized him. Neighbors smiled wider. Friends asked for photos. But behind the excitement, something felt unfinished. He had not won. He had not reached the final stage he dreamed about. And for Miguel, almost was not enough. At night, when the noise faded, silence became heavy. He replayed the judges' faces in his mind. Especially Simon's. There had been interest. Even respect. But not that moment. Not the golden buzzer. Miguel began to question himself. Was he just a good impression? Was he only Filipino Elvis and nothing more? The comments online were mixed. Some called him talented. Others said he needed more power, more emotion, more identity. Those words stayed with him. He stopped singing for a while. Not because he didn't love it, but because he feared loving it too much. He watched his mother come home exhausted each evening. Her hands rough from soap and water. Her smile still brave. Guilt slowly grew inside him. What if chasing this dream was selfish? What if he was asking too much from a family that already had so little? Loneliness felt different now. It was not about being alone. It was about feeling unseen. Miguel realized his biggest battle was not against other contestants. It was against doubt. He needed to find his own voice, not Elvis's shadow. The invitation to return for part 2 came months later. It felt like a second chance. But also like a risk. Because this time, he could not hide behind style or imitation. He had to reveal himself. And that was far more terrifying than facing any judge. The week before his return flight to America, something unexpected happened. Miguel lost his voice. It started as a small cough. A dry throat. Nothing serious. But within days, the sound that once filled rooms became weak and cracked. He tried to sing softly. Only air came out. Panic settled into his chest. This second chance had taken months to arrive. And now, days before the stage, his greatest gift felt like it was slipping away. Doctors said it was strain. Too much pressure. Too much practice. He was told to rest. No singing. No whispering. Silence. For the first time in years, Miguel had no music. He sat outside their home in the quiet evening. No humming. No rehearsal. Just thoughts. And in that silence, something changed. He realized he had been trying to prove something to everyone else. To the judges. To the internet. To the world. He had forgotten why he started singing in the first place. It was never about a golden buzzer. It was about the feeling. The warmth in his chest. The way his mother's tired eyes would soften when he sang. Tears rolled down his face, not from fear, but from clarity. If his voice returned, he would not step on that stage as Filipino Elvis. He would step on it as Miguel. Simple. Honest. Real. Days later, slowly, his voice began to heal. Not louder. But deeper. When he finally stood on the AGT stage again, he chose a different song. Still inspired by Elvis, but rearranged. Stripped down. Personal. The performance began softly. No big movements. No flashy imitation. Just emotion. And somewhere in the middle of that song, Simon leaned forward. Because this time, he was not watching a tribute. He was witnessing a transformation.